going to provide not only some thunder offensively, but a huge lift to this ball club.
It's not too often that a trade overshadows the potential of a man winning 300 games, but to a certain degree, that's what's happened. And I think Greg Maddux likes it that way. He doesn't want to talk about the chance of his 300th victory. He wants to talk about after the task is completed, and hopefully that'll be today.
When Greg Maddux tells you that it's not about me, it's about us, and it's not about personal wins, it's about getting to the postseason, you have to believe him, because sincerity is something that he brought to the big leagues with him, and he still has it. It's going to be a great day today. The wind is blowing out. Jim Hendry has done his job. Now let's see the boys do their job, and I think it's going to work out real well.
Greg Maddux and Randy Wolf, Cubs and Phillies baseball. But first, God Bless America and our national anthem.
America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my God bless America, land of America. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? The land of the free and the home of love.
Chicago Cubs baseball, brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. 4,000 CarQuest Auto Parts stores all across North America. The Illinois Lottery. Have a ball with the Illinois Lottery during their 30th anniversary celebration. By Pepsi. It's the cola. And by Southwest Airlines. Over 2,800 daily nonstops to 60 destinations all across the country.
Chicago viewers are talking.
Big Sunday for baseball on Chicago's north side, and the debut of Nomar Garciaparra and Greg Maddux. Potential milestone being brought to you in high definition by our friends at Grant's Appliances, Electronics, and more. With Steve Stone, this is Chip Carey from Wrigley Field. Let's join the third member of our broadcast team today, WGN Sports Director Dan Roan.
Hi, Chip and Steve. Yeah, what a perfect day for baseball out here today, although I'm sure Greg Maddux would rather see that wind blowing in instead of blowing straight out toward left field. But I've been walking around the park a little bit today, and you couldn't squeeze one more body into this place. It is absolutely jam-packed, and what a game they're going to see with Garciaparra's debut and Greg Maddux going for 300. We'll check in with Greg's family a little bit later on and get back to you guys as the ball game continues.
All right, Dan, thanks a lot. Great to have you along for what we hope will be an historic day. Greg Maddux chasing history, trying to become the first pitcher ever in Major League Baseball to win his 300th game in this ballpark. Wrigley Field in Chicago. Here's the Phillies lineup with the wind blowing straight out. Jimmy Rollins leads off at short. Placido Polanco bats and plays second with Bobby Abreu in right. Jim Thome, the cleanup man. Pat Burrell is in left. David Bell is at third base. Michael Lieberthal behind the plate. Marlon Byrd, just up from the minor leagues, is in center field. And Randy Wolf, another Philly performer who has struggled at times this year, will pitch in that night.
There's the Cubs Pepsi defense. It's a Lou Patterson and Sosa left to right. I'm not sure I ever believed I'd be able to say this, but Ramirez, Garciaparra at shortstop. Grzelcyk and Lee in the infield. Paul Bacco behind the plate. Greg Maddux on the hill. Today is a hitter's day. It's warm, it's humid, the wind is blowing straight out. And this is an exciting day to be at Wrigley Field.
Greg Maddux's first pitch of the day is a called strike. Ed Montague behind home plate. A lot of dignitaries are here today. Commissioner Bud Selig on hand. Current Braves general manager John Schuerholz as Rollins hits that a long way to right. Sammy in the well, leaps up, and that's in the basket. And you said it right. It's a hitter's day. It's 1-0 Philadelphia.
Chip, this is a day, even with Greg Maddux on the mound, the Cubs are going to have to outscore the Phillies, and the Phillies have plenty of thunder. Jimmy Rollins hits his 5th home run of the year. He drives in his 37th. There's going to be many more in the basket, many more onto Waveland and Sheffield before this day is over. Maddux gets a fastball up and out over the plate. He wanted it inside. It's 1-0 Phillies. We're going to see a lot of guys running around the bases today.
So it might be like one of those 23-22 Cub-Philly classics here at Wrigley. And as I was trying to say before Rollins interrupted, John Schuerholz is here. Stan Kasten here from the Atlanta organization. Bud Selig is here. And we'll see who comes out on top in Game 3 of this weekend series. A ball high to Polanco, 2-0 your count.
They play Polanco around toward right center field. The gap is in left center.
That's over the outside edge. Polanco at .261 this season for the Phillies. 5 homers and 18 knocked in. And this crowd, which has been roaring with every move of the Cub team in warm-ups, will see Garciaparra handle his first chance. And he handles it perfectly. 1 out. You know, that's got to make him feel good. You always wonder when you get to a new team when that ball's going to find you. Better sooner than later.
A big bounder to Nomar. He makes the play easily. Just like most of those guys from Georgia Tech. Terrific defense, and you know, a massive intellect. Where'd you go to school, Pally?
I was too smart to go to Georgia Tech. Here's Abreu hitting third in right field. That's about the only bad thing you can say about Nomar is his choice of academic institutions. As the Phillies right fielder, who's had a huge series, stands in. He's killed the Cubs this year, 3 homers and has knocked in 8.
Well, for regular season action, this is going to be the Cubs' final look at the Philadelphia Phillies. They know a couple things about them. 1, this team can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and 2, they've had some starting pitching problems. Abreu has really hurt Maddux.
And that one touched off to right center field. That one's pretty deep. That one is going to go. This is going to be a war of attrition. I think you're right. 2-0 Philadelphia. 4th home run of the year by Abreu against the Cubs, and his 24th this season.
Well, Abreu has hit over 400 against Greg Maddux, and you figured he was going to do some damage today. He's now driven in 77. Maddux takes something off this one. Unfortunately, Abreu doesn't. And now they put the Thome shift on. Jim Thome's father was up in the office before the game today. Very nice man. And I told him if his son can hit just 4 pop-ups again today, we wish him tremendous luck the rest of the year.
Well, with all due respect, I'd rather see him hit the ball on the ground the way the wind's blowing at the ballpark today.
Well, he's one of the Phillies that's never had luck against Greg Maddux.
Thome 2 for 14 against Greg lifetime and down a strike. And that one skips up there to the Phillies slugging first baseman who leads all of baseball with 31 home runs. It's 2-0. Home runs by Rollins and Abreu here in the first.
Maddux is getting his first look at the Phillies. Last year, they murdered him. 8.28 ERA in 5 starts.
There's a little ground ball foul at first. Derek Lee will make the play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now, because they were in the same division for a good portion of Greg's career, he faced them a lot, and he actually had success with them. Lifetime 28-17 against the Phillies, an ERA in the low 3s. And he's also been involved in 56 games against his Philadelphia team.
2-2. Missed the inside corner. It's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Jim Thome.
We'll take another look at it. Maddux wants it to sail back over the inside corner. Ed Montague says it didn't.
Nor did that. Ball 4. Runner at first for Pat Burrell, a rare right-handed hitter who's hurt Maddux. And so the Phillies put Thome aboard. Here's Burrell.
And you're right, Chip. You won't find too many right-handers that have had a great deal of success against Greg Maddux. But Burrell, with a batting average up over 370 and a couple of home runs, has done a job against him. And again, they used to see him 5 or 6 times every year, so they were familiar with him.
And while that ordinarily breeds contempt, in a Maddux-Phillies matchup, it breeds contact. And that's what Greg's hoping doesn't happen with Burrell up. He's got 68 runs batted in. He's hit 18 home runs and is suddenly starting to find his stroke.
These Phillies start today 4.5 games in back of Atlanta in the East. Philadelphia also very much alive in the wild card, although they're farther back in perhaps what will be a tougher chase. San Francisco, the Cubs, between Philadelphia and the leader, San Diego.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Pat Burrell. There was some speculation in Philadelphia that had the Phillies played badly here in Chicago, there was a chance that Larry Bowa might not be going with the team to San Diego and LA. They won yesterday to even the series and lead in the first inning of the wrap-up today. And that's over the outside corner. Burrell frozen for out number 2.
Good pitch by Greg Maddux, and he retires a tough hitter. Baco wants it outside, and Maddux gets one right there. One of those days where you want to have the last at bats, and you want the wind to continue to blow out.
So kind of an interesting day for the Bell family. In Maddux's first major league win, David's dad, Buddy Bell, went 0 for 5. While Greg beat the Cincinnati Reds that day 11-3. So David Bell finds himself down, no balls, 2 strikes. Bell 2 for 21 lifetime against Greg. And he and his dad have plenty to share in that regard. Buddy was 2 for 18 in his lifetime head-to-head matchups. Thome at first. 2 outs in the 0-2 pitch.
Well, normally Greg Maddux has to worry about guys running. One thing that, although you can't guarantee it, but you can pretty much count on, is that Thome, I don't believe, is going to be stealing second base.
A 1-2 count now is back to the screen. Thome's attempted just 2 steals this year for the Phillies.
I'm not sure the Phillies gave him all that money for as many years as they did because they loved his flying feet.
Well, he has 18 stolen bases total in his career. 1-2 count. A little flare, shallow center field. Garciaparra going out, still going, can't get there. And heading to third on contact is Thome. Derek Lee late to cover second base, so Patterson runs the ball in. They're at the corners with 2 outs, and Mike Lieberthal, the hitter.
I like what Corey Patterson did there. He knew he had first and third, and instead of letting the ball go early and then worrying about what was going to happen, he just ran the ball in and made sure that Tommy wasn't going to go home. No way Bell was going to go to second, not with Corey Patterson coming in. So in that case, the longer you hold on to the baseball, the more difficult it is for base runners to do anything. And there you see Corey taking over, and now you've got to get by Lieberthal with runners at the corners to get out of this inning with only 2 scored.
Lieberthal with 12 home runs. Drives that to right field, in the air deep. Sammy's got room. He is there, and Maddux is through the first. Hopefully the butterflies are gone. 2 solo home runs from Rollins and Abreu give the Phillies a 2-0 lead with Nomar Garciaparra due up in the first. This season with the Red Sox hit .321. Moises Alou is in left. Sammy Sosa hits in the cleanup spot for the 14th time this year. Derek Lee 5th. Ramos Ramirez 5th. Derek Lee 6th, I beg your pardon. Mark Grudzolanek at second base. Paul Bacco behind the plate. And Greg Maddux will pitch and bat 9th.
There's a look at the Philly defense. It's Burrow, Bird, and Abreu left to right with Bell, Rollins, Polanco, and Tommy. Mike Lieberthal behind the plate. Randy Wolf on the hill. He's had some arm problems this year. And the Cubs will lead it off with Patterson.
He tries to bunt. Wolf went the wrong way, and it's a hit.
At that point for Randy Wolf, there's no sense even trying to get the baseball. If it can roll foul, that's the only shot you have. Corey Patterson leading off with a base hit. And listen to the roar for Nomar.
To the plate, shortstop, number 8, Nomar Garciaparra.
If this guy hits it out of the park, he could run for mayor. Patterson at first. Randy Wolf kicks and fires, and he hits a shot toward Bell at third. Second for 1, on to first is just in time. A double play erases Patterson and Garciaparra, 2 outs. And Alou will be the hitter.
Well, it pretty much goes to show you that nothing is scripted in this game, because in Hollywood that ball would be on Waveland. Here at Wrigley, it's a 5-4-3.
And so Moises Alou will be hitting third for the Cubs today. Dropping Sammy Sosa down to the cleanup spot. And one thing to keep an eye on is how the Cubs hit the lefty Randy Wolf. This team's batting average against southpaws at .235, and they've been rolling over the top a lot. 2 Cub hitters do it in the first inning. Wolf keeps the ball on the ground. That'll be important for him today as he leads by 2 over the Cubs after 1.
Windows, and now $1,000 cash back or 1.9% financing for 60 months. Nothing has changed. Everything has changed.
Marlon Byrd leads off the Phillies' second inning. It's Byrd in center, Wolf the pitcher, and then back to the top and Jimmy Rollins for the Phillies, who lead 2-0. And that ball sharply hit past Derek Lee and into right field. Marlon Byrd now, who had a disappointing run of it with the Phillies and frankly down at AAA, gets things going successfully here in the second inning with a solid single.
Well, they spent a good deal of the last few weeks trying to deal Marlon Byrd. In fact, they wanted to find a center fielder. They thought that Steve Finley was going to come, and they felt that Marlon Byrd would at least be one of the guys in the trade. You know, Byrd hit .303 last year for Philadelphia. Didn't work out particularly well for him this year, but he comes back and rifles a single to right. Wolf will be bunting.
He's a good hitter, good bunter. He has 6 sacrifices on the year. And Maddux steps off, hoping his pitching counterpart would tip his hand, and tip it he did.
Byrd swiped 11 last year in 135 games. The impressive part, the .303 batting average. He's a big guy.
Fouled away for a strike to Randy Wolf.
And the Phillies missed him. He's been hurt a time or two this year. When healthy, he gives them another dependable left-handed starter. The Cubs have had a few problems against left-handed starters. Last year, Wolf was 16-10. This year, they were looking for more of the same. It hasn't been that way.
Pitch out. No action. 1 ball, 1 strike. We'll keep you abreast of all the other action around the major leagues. A very busy trading day yesterday. In baseball, the Dodgers and Marlins, another blockbuster deal. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's the bunt, and it is a fair ball. The Bacco throw is in time.
What
Good
a play
stretch.
by Paul Bacco. Paul Bacco came out. He thought he had some time. Garciaparra right there to make the play. You have to ask, almost like a first baseman, you know you're not going to get a double play. Bacco jumps on it, gets it there just in time. And a call by Paul Schreiber.
Boy, Nomar lucky as Bird rolled over that right ankle after he was forced 2-6. So Wolf has to run the bases. Here's Rollins. He homered leading off the game for Philadelphia.
Well, you're right about that. That was a hard slide, a clean play, but he did roll over the ankle.
1-0 is your count. And a double play ball. 1 there and 2 there. Maddux gets the ground ball working in the Phillies' second. 2-0 your score.
This week on Note down the distance and player's name and send it to WGN-TV. You could win 2 round-trip tickets to any Southwest Airlines destination.
There's a look at our beautiful Sharp Electronics high-definition booth monitor, and you can find a full line of Sharp HD products at Grant's Appliances Electronics and more. Phillies play long ball in the first. Greg Maddux gets some ground balls in the second, and the Cubs come up with Sosa and company here in inning number 2.
Phillies have struggled on the road. They've lost 7 of their last 9. The Cubs are hoping to continue that. And with the wind blowing out, it has to put a smile on all the hitters' faces today. And I talked to Gary Matthews, coach hitting instructor, before the game about what Nomar will mean to this team. He said he saw him live a few years in the American League. He goes, this guy is absolutely a big-time hitter. He gets key hits late. And he said he was right up there with the best in the business at shortstop offensively. He's just ecstatic he's on this team.
Sammy has a mighty cut and fouls that out of play for a swinging strike 1.
Sammy's had some problems with Wolf over the course of his career. But things a little different today. You really don't have to hit the ball on the sweet spot to get it out.
0-1. And they stay away, and that's off the plate from Wolf, who needed just 3 pitches to retire the Cubs in the first. Pulled toward third, and he missed a double by a foot.
It's kind of a tip-off as to how they're going to pitch Sammy. You see David Bell well off the line at third base. They don't expect Sosa to pull the ball that way, which would tell me when Wolf is going to go get Sammy, he's going to go outside. If he does come in and it's not way in off the plate, it'll be a mistake.
High and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball left field. Burrow going back. The wind's going to take that one out of the ballpark. A towering home run for Sosa. His 23rd, and the Cubs are on the board.
Sammy reintroduced to the number 4 spot and takes one out of the ballpark the first time up. We told you don't have to hit it on the sweet spot to get it out. Sammy didn't get all of that. It certainly went a long way, and the Cubs cut the lead in half.
So 562 in Sosa's career. One behind Reggie Jackson and Wolf to Ramirez. Buckle your seatbelts. We're going to be here a while. 1-0 to the Cubs third baseman. Aramis has pounded the Phillies. 8 hits, 4 of them home runs. And there's another fly ball left field. Burrow going back in the well, and that one's in the basket. We're tied. Billy Williams, Hall of Famer for the Cubs, is sitting 4 booths to our left. And both of those home runs were classic Billy Williams type at bats. Hit it high and watch it fly. And we're tied 2-2.
There's 4 runs scored, 4 home runs. That ball was a changeup low and away, and Ramirez got enough. And for Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 363 happy feet. And this is like the old home run derby.
Over the outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Old Glory starts to top the pole. The wind blowing out to left center.
Pulled toward Bell at third. He'll handle the 5th hop, and he'll take care of Derek Lee for out number 1. Sosa and Ramirez, back-to-back homers, have tied the game in the second.
Wolf missed his spot. He wanted it away. He got it on the inner portion, and Sammy hit a towering home run. And for Southwest Airlines, how far did it fly? 396 happy feet.
So here's Mark Grudzielanek. First time he's hitting the 7th spot. And Bell, a good play to his right, takes care of him quickly. 2 outs after the 2 Cub home runs, and that'll bring up Paul Bacco, the 8th place hitter.
On a day like today, you want to throw ground balls. Maddux will probably do it as we move along a little better than Wolf. If you don't throw ground balls, it's not going to be a long appearance.
That's outside to the Cub catcher, Paul Bacco. 1 ball, no strikes.
The Cubs do have one advantage over the Phillies. They've got more thunder in their lineup than Philadelphia does.
And they hit last. That ball hit to right. Abreu shy of the track. Retires Paul Bacco. After 2, the long ball, the story. 2-2 your score.
Unleash one today. See the Jaguar XJR in Catwoman in theaters now.
Placido Polanco to work for the Phillies, and Maddux paints the outside corner, and the 3rd inning underway.
4 solo homers, a 2-2 game, and a long way to go on a very exciting day in Chicago.
That's down the right field line, slicing toward the seats, and it'll reach them. And Polanco quickly down, 0-2.
I'd like to pass along birthday greetings to little Keelu Davis, celebrating birthday number 2. His family, at one point prominent citizens of our nation's capital, now make their home in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Line drive, foul past Ramirez at 3rd. So here in this 3rd, Polanco, Abreu, and Tomey will face Maddux for the 2nd time. And that's a little low. Following an off day tomorrow, we'll head to Colorado and get our final look at the Rockies starting Tuesday night. Then San Francisco next weekend before coming back home for the Padres and the Dodgers here at Wrigley. Line drive right field. Come on, Sammy. He'll dive, tumble, and he'll hang on. 1 out.
Great play by Sammy Sosa and a sinking line drive that looked like a base hit when it left the bat. Wind blowing out, kept it up long enough, and Sammy came and got it. Good way to start the 3rd inning. Sosa with a fine effort, good jump, and is able to make the play.
Steve, I know all of us in this business use cliches a lot. We talk at length and fans talk about trades giving a team a spark. We all know what Nomar Garciaparra is capable of doing as an offensive and defensive player, but can you put into terms what that spark really is from a guy who's been in that locker room and has been on teams that have made trades like the one the Cubs just completed?
I think the team just wants to know that both the ownership and the front office will do what it takes to give a team a boost to either get to the playoffs or make sure that they're a whole lot better heading into postseason. I think this move, acquiring one of the great players in baseball, shows the entire Cub team, everybody inhabiting that dugout, that Jim Hendry, Andy McPhail, Dennis Fitzsimons will be willing to pay a price.
Nice adjustment by Maddux to take care of Abreu on 3 pitches. 2 outs, bases empty in the 3rd.
And that price is not only the young players you gave up, but the amount of money that it takes. So if there was any doubt, and I don't think there was to begin with, it was certainly reinforced with the addition of old number 8, who was old number 5 in Boston.
There's a high fly ball hit by Tomey off the end of the bat to left. It's playable for Alou. He's there. 3 up, 3 down for Maddux, who will take matters into his own hands when we return to Wrigley.
Brought to you by Hyundai. When your car comes home with America's best warranty, you win. Hyundai. Walgreens Pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by Acura. Experience the performance today at your local Acura dealer.
With XM satellite radio,
Find hotel.
Bluetooth wireless technology,
Dial.
and voice-activated navigation,
Do you need directions?
No thanks. I got them.
you are not alone. Introducing the all-new 270 horsepower Acura TL.
2-2 our score as we see Greg Maddux take his place in the batter's box for the 3rd time with Steve Stone, Dan Roan, Chip Carey back at the ballpark. And the man of the hour besides Greg Maddux and Nomar Garciaparra might be the man sitting between Steve and me. That's General Manager Jim Hendry. Nice job. This had to be an amazing 24 hours.
It was a good ending to a long couple of weeks, and we feel very fortunate having Nomar, and obviously how he's received today was great, and to get to talk to him before the game, it was overwhelming to see how glad he was to be here. It was really good.
Understand, Jim, that as it goes down, I mean, a 4-team trade is very difficult at any time, especially when you get closer to the deadline. Was there a time when you thought it might not have happened?
Yeah, I really didn't know what to expect when I got to the park yesterday. I've never been involved in a multi-team trade, and to be honest with you, I didn't think that was going to happen when we got here yesterday. So basically, at 2 o'clock, I think we all felt in our room, Gary Hughes and Oneri Fleta, Keith Champ, but we all felt that there was a good probability we weren't going to make any trade.
Nice catch by a fan in the upper deck off the Maddux pop fly foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes to him here in the 3rd inning. From your standpoint as a baseball guy, we look at his numbers. We know how good Nomar's numbers look. From a baseball perspective, what will Nomar bring to this ball club?
Well, I think, whenever you're in any kind of a postseason run and you've got a kind of ball club we have, and you see that, we've been hurt by injuries, and it's been a factor all year, but now it's time to really get after it. I think any club is looking to get some kind of a boost from the front office, and let the club know that we appreciate their efforts, even though we're not having the place in the standings where we wanted to be at the beginning of the year. We still got a good chance. So I think he'll bring a lot to the table. Everybody knows what kind of player he is. He's a great human being. He's a winner. And I think you'll see a guy that'll take off here and energize the club a little bit. And also, I think he's energized.
Well, we talked with Todd Walker, who played with him last year, as you know, and Walker said he was a great teammate, and he was a guy that came through in big situations, and nobody knows each individual player better than the guys that played with him, and for me, that was a ringing endorsement.
Well, absolutely, and I said, Steve, you're exactly right, and I know Todd and I have a good enough relationship that you obviously assume that Todd and I had some talks about Nomar before yesterday, and I go way back to, I knew his college coach, Jim Morris at Georgia Tech back then, that's now at Miami, and I know a lot of people at Georgia Tech. I know some other people that played with him in Boston, and you know, some of the things that have been bandied around that he's not a good teammate or, you know, he's not a quality guy, that they couldn't be farther from the truth.
Do you expect now, even though you need waivers to make a deal, you expect that most teams have shut it down, or will they regroup? I know you'll be getting a little more rest, but will it continue?
Well, I think you'll see some...
Line drive right center field off Patterson's bat. Bird over quickly cuts it off. Good play to do that. And Corey's got 2 hits out of the leadoff spot. First time this year he's hit number 1 for the Cubs.
Well, I think Dusty did a real good thing today, giving Corey a shot, number 1. And we're pretty darn solid up and down. And if you hadn't hit Corey 1 today, then either Corey or, you know, if he didn't hit 1, then Corey'd be hitting down at the bottom, or, you know, a guy like Derek Lee might be hitting 7, and you're going pretty good if Derek Lee's hitting 7.
Looks to me like the way the lineup is today, this is a pretty tough lineup to face, regardless of which way the wind is blowing.
Absolutely. So,
Nomar bounced into a double play his first time up, takes a ball down and in, and that's the idiosyncrasy that he has. With every pitch, steps out, makes the adjustment to those batting gloves.
Yeah. I didn't finish answering your question, but I'm sorry. I think you'll see some clubs regroup and try to tinker with certain deals in the waiver claims, and we'll try to just keep our eye on those things ourselves.
High fly ball jammed him toward left. Burrell coming on, slowing now, and he'll make the play for out number 2. We said in our open, Jim, it's not too often that a deal that is made overshadows to a certain degree a man trying for maybe the most difficult milestone there is, and that's to win his 300th game in Greg Maddux today.
Well, it's probably just the way Greg would have liked it. As we know, Greg, you know, what an unbelievable feat and what an unbelievable career he's had. Obviously, he's one of the greatest that ever lived, and it would be a great day if he could do it here on his first tryout at home the day Nomar got here.
Jim, have you ever in your long history, I know you've been around the game forever, have you ever seen a man that approaches his job with humility of Greg Maddux?
Never. And I didn't know Greg at all, you know, before, you know, we got involved in trying to sign him. But I tell you what, I know it sounds like the typical GM talking about a great player, but it's been a pleasure to be around just to watch this guy carry himself the way he does on and off the field, in the clubhouse, with his teammates. He wants no credit. He wants no attention. He wants no publicity. He just wants to win. And it's an admirable quality for a man of his stature, and certainly in the modern day, you know, that we live in.
And maybe a testament to him that Stan Kasdan and John Schierholtz are in the park today, along with Bud Selig, in case he does indeed win number 300. They will be here to not only see it, but to congratulate him personally.
Absolutely. Well, you can't beat the class that the Atlanta Braves have had, you know, in the last couple decades. You can't beat the class as a general manager that John Schierholtz is, and I think the commissioner is making a statement also that not only is it a great accomplishment, but this is one of the great citizens of our game too in Greg Maddux.
And Jim, before it's over, I want to congratulate you. I know how hard you worked on this last year. You brought to this team what they needed to get to the postseason at the trading deadline and beyond. This year, you've taken the first step. I don't think you're done yet. I don't think you believe you're done yet, but it's a real good start.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Jim Hendry, nice job. Go cool off. Get some rest. Fine general manager of the Cubs, Jim Hendry. Sweating out a 2-2 game here in our third at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
I don't know, Chip. I mean, a lot of people told me that he looked tired. I don't think he looks tired at all. You know, it took, what, 10, 15 minutes to put this thing together?
It's an easy job. Alou digs in with Patterson over at first. He's going, and the floater way high. The lever ball throw way low, and it hit him in the back. 15 steals for Patterson.
Well, Corey picked a good pitch to run, but he paid the price because he's got a little pain in the posterior with that one. You're running on a slow curveball. Lieberthal with a pretty good arm. And this one catches Corey right about the belt line. So Patterson, 15 out of 19 in stolen bases.
And Alou ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike. A hit means a run for the Cubs, who are tied at 2 in this 3rd inning. Fly ball toward left, jammed him a bit, and Burrell's got plenty of room, and he's there to retire the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. The duel continues, tied at 2 after 3.
You've been waiting all year.
Talking about the mighty Titan. Built in America, yeah.
Pat Burrell to work in the 4th inning for the Phillies. Both Wolf and Maddux have settled in nicely now. And Burrell was called out on strikes in that 2-run Philly 1st inning. Ground ball sharply hit towards second. Runs a lot, gives some ground and gets his man by a step. 1 man up, 1 man down. We owe you a late ID. Let's pause for station identification.
You're watching Chicago's official summer baseball station, WGN-TV Chicago.
Chip Caray, Steve Stone at historic Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Maddux starting to throw ground balls, and that's always a good sign. And to our left, we're getting a look at Mickey Morandini, who right now is talking with the Philly broadcasters, because as you know, he's a former Philly. His wife here with him. And surprisingly, Peg is still in the Morandini family. Mickey, by the way, one of the all-time great hitters against Greg Maddux. All-time.
Yeah, 32 career hits against Greg. That's 3rd most by any other hitter.
It's astounding, considering that he had 35 lifetime.
He spaced them out very effectively, didn't he? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mickey is here as part of the Les Turner ALS Foundation, and a guy who was bearing the brunt of one of your greatest lines in Cub history back in that magical 1998 season.
I can hardly remember when I said a normal-sized second baseman would have had that ball, and Mickey took it very well.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
They've done a great job in raising a tremendous amount of money for a wonderful cause. And it is one of the great families that we've been associated with in baseball. Mickey and Peg Morandini. Bell singled last time up. Outfield shading him toward right center. The wind hasn't shifted, but the guys are keeping the ball in the infield for the most part, or jamming the hitters. And the game stays tied at 2.
2 balls, 2 strikes to David Bell. Mike Lieberthal waiting on deck next for the Phillies. A hot, muggy Sunday afternoon. And that's off his thumbs and out of play. In the other games, the Reds are leading Houston today. It's 5-3 after 6. Some were surprised, Steve, that Houston wasn't more active. As the trade deadline approached, Houston 6 games out in the wild card race.
Almost betwixt and between, not really knowing if they're there for the long haul. And I know that Drayton McClain, Jerry Hunsinger, want to draw as many people as they can.
Broken bat ground ball to Nomar, who does not flip it over there, does he?
And Chip, there's no way in the world that Houston is going to unload. I mean, they spent a lot of money to bring Clemens and Pettit. They made the deal that brought Beltran there. They still believe they can win the wild card. And so they have to play it out. And they have to hope that Beltran wants to sign there and play there long term. He's a wonderful player.
Lieberthal, the hitter, he flied to right, ending the 1st inning of play. And you're right about Maddux. Ground balls are starting to add up for him. That's going to be important as we carry along here. That one chopped foul. John Vukovich, good play in that Philadelphia coaching box at 3rd base.
I'd like to send along best wishes and birthday greetings to Lisa Stern. The daughter of a good buddy of mine, Sid Stern, looking on in Scottsdale. He's at 26 today. Sid 93.
That's fouling out of play again off the bat of Mike Lieberthal. Lieberthal swung the bat pretty well against Cub pitching this year. 5 hits and 15 tries.
These two teams have hooked up 5.5 times. They've hit 20 home runs combined.
Not surprising. Driven down the right field line. The Phillies' home ballpark, Citizens Bank Park, is a real airport. And today, the same story at Wrigley with the wind blowing straight out.
Well, I think that Philly Park is going to be a home run park regardless of the wind. And here, of course, as you know, the wind very much a factor. But on a very warm day, with the wind out of the south and southwest, it's not that difficult to hit the ball out. But if you're hitting ground balls, they won't leave the park, except for a terrible hop.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Skip Ellison, our director today, with his patented Wrigley Field scoreboard flag shot. As you see, the Cubs, most home runs in the National League. The majority of them solo shots, and 2 more of those today. 2-2 count to Lieberthal. And it's filled at 3-2.
Greg doesn't throw many breaking balls, and he tried to throw that for a strike. He did surprise Lieberthal, but it just missed.
Fly ball to right again. Another chance for Sammy Sosa. Plenty of room, and the inning is over. 2 straight, 3 up, 3 downers for Maddux, and we're in the middle of the 4th, tied at 2. Green Celebrity Bat Kids are 8-year-old Connor Zidnick from Coal City, Illinois, and Faye McNamara, 14 years old, from Lacone, Illinois. They're having a great day at Wrigley thanks to Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs.
There's some good-looking burgers. And we'd like to send along thanks to the Kennys from Nuts on Clark. Never one, of course, to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm not real comfortable with those wasabi peas.
Why not? They're
I know
delicious and nutritious.
You like them a lot. Last time, Sosa and Ramirez hit back-to-back, turned into home runs in the second.
There's a rifle shot hit towards second. Polanco had him played perfectly. And there's 1 man down in our 4th inning. And whether you're on the road for business or pleasure, don't miss a minute of the action. Take your favorite team on the road. Watch live games from your computer. Sign up for MLB.tv at Cubs.com, where baseball is always on.
Big-time insurance exec Jill Estep looking on today. Very excited about the moves the Cubs have made, especially Ryan Dempster. You know, he was activated today. He's been throwing the ball great in the minor leagues. The Cubs think they might have a great find in a man that has really hurried back quickly from Tommy John surgery. So he is in the Cub bullpen.
Good off-speed pitch, and Ramirez behind 2 strikes.
Times from just the right angle. He does look a lot like John Lester.
Grounded towards short. Here's Jimmy Rollins. And there's out number 2.
Yeah, we'll take a look at a move today that didn't, as you could imagine, get quite the amount of pub as the pursuit of 300 and the acquisition of Garciaparra. But Ryan Dempster activated. Todd Wellemeyer optioned to AAA. Ryan Dempster is going to be a big addition to this baseball team.
Hard hit ground ball by Derek Lee again to short, and Wolf gets 3 groundouts to end the Cubs' 4th inning of play. On we go to the 5th, still tied 2-2.
What's this? It's your new laptop.
The latest technology.
Value, clearance, now.
Marlon Byrd leads off the 5th, tied at 2, and Maddux with a quick strike.
Both pitchers have really done it through 4 with a minimum of pitches. A gorgeous day out on Lake Michigan.
0-1 the count to Byrd, and
I think he hit him.
It did hit him. 7th time this year a batter has been hit by a pitched ball from Maddux, and Wolf again will attempt to bunt. Bacco threw out Byrd in a similar situation back in the 2nd inning.
Maddux rides it up and in. Byrd can't get out of the way. That's a go-ahead run at first. Now Wolf's a terrific hitter, and so Larry Bowa might decide to switch things up on a day with the wind blowing out.
There's the bunt, and it's a beauty. Bacco has only one play, and he makes it a 2-4 sacrifice. Byrd to second. Dan Roan, part of our broadcast team today, has a very special guest downstairs. Dan?
All right, guys, thank you very much. The commissioner of baseball is with us today, Bud Selig, here for what we hope, anyway, here in Chicago, Bud, it'll be a historic moment. It's nice to have you in the ballpark today.
Dan, it's a pleasure to be here today. Every time I come here, there's really no other setting like this. This is amazing, and especially with Nomar making his debut and Greg Maddux going for his 300th victory. I mean, really historic. We're just sitting here talking about it. I mean, this could be the last time for a long, long time, but for maybe Tommy Glavine, that's it.
You know, we've had full houses pretty much the whole season here at Wrigley Field, but I don't think we've had this kind of electricity in the ballpark this season.
Walking in today, and I've been coming here for almost 60 years now, it was unbelievable, and there's no question this is high drama and great for baseball. Yesterday was an amazing day, and particularly amazing on the north side of Chicago.
That it was. Hey, we appreciate you spending a moment with us. Hey, you're a little bit overdressed today, I think.
That's what everybody else has told me. I know that, but I always am, Dan, so at least I'm consistent.
That you are. Hey, thanks very much. Good to see you, Bud.
Jimmy Rollins with a base hit to right field. Byrd got a bad jump on the ball. Sammy boots it. A run's going to score, and the Phillies lead 3-2.
John Vukovic held him up at third base. If Sammy comes up with it, there's going to be runners at the corners, but one out. It does go as a base hit. It is an error because Byrd wasn't running. Sammy missed it. Byrd came home. 3-2. Still a lot of scoring to be had in this one. So the hit batsman and the misplay come back to haunt the Cubs. More important, the Cubs now out of a double play situation that could have gotten them out of the inning without giving up a run.
And a man that makes a lot of contact in the batter's box in Placido Polanco, who is 0 for 2. So a gift run for the Phillies gives them a 1-run lead here in our 5th, and it's a strike to Polanco.
Polanco's a guy you can usually count on to make contact. If you strike him out, you're doing something.
And now time called. I thought Commissioner Selig's comments were interesting and illuminating. I think he's right. After Tom Glavine, and it's still an open question as to whether or not he will get to 300 wins. We're going to have to wait a long time before anyone even approaches the milestone that Greg Maddux is trying to earn today.
I think it's real interesting that nobody has ever done it in this ballpark. Won their 300th game. Now the Cubs have had pitchers who have won 300. But I think Bud is right in that not only do you have to be phenomenally consistent and at times spectacular, but the durability that you have to exhibit to even get close enough to accomplish that is something that very few guys will be capable of doing in the years to come.
1 ball, 2 strikes. I know we've talked about this a lot. We are seeing a golden era of baseball. Attendance records are being set. I mean, the game's health from a fan's perspective, maybe the best it's ever been, but it's certainly a golden era that is tilted toward the offense more so than it has been the pitching.
I think since 1968, it's safe to say that. And why that year, we'll get back to it.
Polanco puts bat on the ball but rolls it foul.
1968 was a year in the National League where Bob Gibson had a 1.12 ERA. In the American League, Louis Tiant had a 1.63 ERA. And pitchers really ruled that particular era. Yes, there was great hitters, but pitchers dominated. That was the time they decided to lower the mound. Most of the new ballparks, and there's many of them around the major leagues, are certainly offensive ballparks. And I think that's why some of the numbers are bigger than ever offensively. And it's not to say that the game is a better game now than it was then. It's just that it's a more offensive game now than it ever was. You're seeing home run records shattered. You're seeing guys hit certainly a lot more home runs than they ever hit before. You're seeing guys, because of the workout regimens, spend a lot longer time than we've ever seen. And of course, the DH is part of baseball.
Popped up at short, Nomar Garciaparra. Boy, it's still amazing to say his name at short for the Cubs. 2 outs. Polanco's retired. Here's Abreu.
Let's take a look at winning percentage for guys who have won 300 games. With Lefty Grove at the top, and there's some great names on that list. I mean, who can forget John Clarkson? And Greg Maddux is right on that list.
Clarkson's the only other pitcher on the 300 club who once wore a Cub uniform to end his career with 300 wins. That was way back before the turn of the century. The 20th century, that is.
This is a big out for Greg Maddux and the Cubs. Because this guy, if not a one-man gang, has been close to it against the Cubs and against Greg Maddux historically.
One ball, no strikes. And whatever it is, there is something special for this man in this ballpark. Bobby Abreu's career numbers at Wrigley Field, the subject of our Hotels.com. 11 home runs in 26 games played here.
Well, he loves to come here. And he loves to hit in this ballpark, but he's not the Lone Ranger. There's a lot of guys that love to do that.
1-1 count, 2 outs, runner at second for the Phillies, and that backs him off the plate. 3-2, Phillies have the lead, top half of our 5th inning. Cubs are scheduled to send the lower third of their lineup up in the bottom of the 5th inning.
It really came down to a choice for the Houston Astros when the expansion draft came around. Who would you rather cast your lot with, Richard Hidalgo or Bobby Abreu? They chose Hidalgo, who went on to have a huge year with Houston. Now, of course, he's playing for the Mets. And Abreu, via Tampa Bay, wound up in Philadelphia, and they love him there.
6 straight 20 homer, 20 steal seasons for the left-hand hitting slugger for the Phillies.
And you just watched a guy who really doesn't walk anybody absolutely pitch around Abreu. Now, Thome has done very little against the Cubs this year, and Maddux not denigrating the ability of Jim Thome. He just felt lifetime for him. He's had much better luck with Thome than Abreu,
who is 2 for 15, that being Thome, and hitless in his last 12 at bats. Don't think Greg Maddux doesn't know that, as the slugging first baseman stands in here in the 5th inning. 2 on, 2 out, 3-2. Phillies have the lead. Close play at second and back safely. Here's Rollins.
A wise choice. If you can get out of this inning without making a pitch to Thome, it's a good idea.
High and tight, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes.
Land Baroness, Miriam Hyenga looking on today. There's a lot of people, Cub fans and fans of baseball, that are tuning in WGN today to see this game.
Fly ball hammered a mile, but fouled out of play to the right side.
Well, if this guy ever starts developing his power, he's going to be a pretty good hitter.
Thome over the 400 home run mark.
He was developed by the Cleveland Indians, who developed so many power hitters, and by the way, they're doing it again under Mike Shapiro. and that very strong Indian organization.
They're only 5.5 out in the AL Central, and Thome pops it up again. He's had a rough visit back home here in Chicago. Ramirez lost it. Nomar found it. Inning over. An unearned run puts the Phillies in front, 3-2, middle of our 5th.
Pretty well.
Yeah, I was going to say both Wolf and Maddux have gotten the ball on the ground, which is critical the way the wind's been howling all day today.
Mark Grudzielanek hitting in the 7th spot. It's a brand new lineup, a test for Dusty Baker, who's had about 87 or 88 of them. He's got Corey Patterson at the top with Nomar Garciaparra in the 2 spot.
There's a drive hammered down the left field line. Will it stay fair? Will it stay fair? It is foul by about 2 feet.
Mark Grudzielanek is not going to hit a lot of them, and the fans down there motioning fair ball. Unfortunately, the deciding vote to Mike Everett, and he said it just hooked in front of the pole. Let's watch it again. Grudzielanek getting just about every bit of this, and for him, he knows it's got enough distance. We'll slow it down. We'll take a look. Unfortunately, it's foul.
So a 2-strike count to Grudzielanek. With the bases empty here in the Cubs half of the 5th. That one flied to left. Burrell is there. And there is out number 1. How much pressure do you think Maddux will self-impose here? Aren't too many guys who've gotten their 300th win on their first crack, and is that something even entering Greg's mind in this first opportunity today?
I think out of all the things that Greg is concerned about on a daily basis, that particular bit of history is one that's not entering his mind. Was he nervous? He's been nervous every time he's gone out there his whole career. Most pitchers are. But when it gets time for him to do his job, he just goes out and does it. He's the least assuming pitcher I've ever seen in my life. All he's worried about is winning the baseball game. It just happens to be number 300.
1 ball, no strikes to Paul Bacco. And that one popped in the air to shallow right. Abreu broke back. Now comes galloping in. And he'll make the play in front of Marlon Byrd. And quickly 2 outs in this 5th inning. Maddux will hit for the 2nd time.
Next, the pitcher, Greg Maddux.
I think right now Maddux is more concerned about getting a base hit than he is about the idea of winning 300. I think like most great performers, he thinks about hitting when it's time to hit. He thinks about pitching when it's time to pitch. The rest will take care of itself.
That's low, ball 1 to Maddux. 1 ball, no strikes.
And if you watched the beginning of the show, you saw some great sound bites from the Atlanta Braves. John Smoltz, Leo Mazzoni, Bobby Cox. Interesting to hear what they had to say. Nice job by our crew.
Popped up center of the diamond. Who wants it? Rollins makes the call and the play, and it's 3 up, 3 down. Wolf is set down 8 consecutive men and leads by a run through 5 at Wrigley Field.
Acura TSX, the 6-speed, 200 horsepower getaway car, one of Car and Driver's 10 best.
Well, that sign right on target. Hopefully Maddux can have an uneventful 6th. He trails by a run 3-2 with Pat Burrell, David Bell, and Michael Lieberthal up for Larry Boa's fighting Phillies.
You get through this one, and the top of the order due up in the Cubs half of the 6th.
And so far, Greg's had Burrell's number. That's real good news for Pat in his brief major league careers. Hit Maddux at a .371 lifetime average.
For the game, I talked with Rich Melman, and he's in attendance today, rooting home Maddux for game win number 300. Rich, of course, from Let Us Entertain You.
Two balls, 1 strikes to Pat Burrell. Laser beam will scatter the Cub bullpen. 2-2 is your count. Braves and Mets battling in Atlanta. It's 6-5 Braves now in the 7th inning stretch. Pirates 3, Brewers 3 after 5 in Milwaukee. Reds still lead Houston 5-3 after 7. That game at the Great American Ballpark. Counts full now to Burrell. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Maddux went way inside. You would have to think that this one would be away or something off speed. He pushed him well off the plate.
Here comes the 3-2 pitch. And it's lined into right center field. That'll drop for Burrell. It's a leadoff hit. So he will stop at first base. David Bell will be the hitter, and we'll tell you that Cubs baseball on WGN, your official summer baseball station, is brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. Bud Light. Crowd of 39,032. We'll see David Bell take his 3rd turn at the plate.
David Bell has grounded into 11 double plays. And a 12th would look pretty good. He's not a guy that's going to strike out 100 times. But I'm not sure if they're going to run with Burrell anytime soon.
Burrell's only tried 1 steal. Wouldn't think they'd be running either with the wind blowing out. And Bell with 12 home runs.
Well, what you do know, however, is that Bell can make contact. He is a good double play man, and you want to stay out of 2. Larry Boa talking it over with a former Cub, Gary Varsho.
1-0 count. Beautiful pitch, evens it up. White Sox lead in Detroit 6-4. That game now bottom of the 9th, or it's just gone finals. The White Sox woes end. Yankees crushing Baltimore 9-3 after 5. Oakland over Texas 3-0 bottom 5. Boston and Minnesota, it's 2-1 Red Sox. Orlando Cabrera did homer in his Red Sox debut today. And Kansas City over Cleveland 6-2 after 4. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Bell, and it's dumped down the right field line. Sammy coming on near the line, sliding catch. Another terrific play by Sosa. 1 man down.
That one looked like it sliced into foul territory, but Sammy came over with a great grab in right. The question is, would it be fair? It looks like it was in fair territory. Sammy slid into foul territory, but he was able to put it away. This could have easily been 2 bases. Instead, it's the first out of the inning. And now with a slow running Lieberthal, you do have a good chance of getting out with a double play ground ball.
He's flied to right twice and is 0 for 2 today. We wish Alex Gonzalez all the best as he begins his career now with the Montreal Expos. He's not in today's lineup as they play in South Florida. Alex was a terrific guy, and we hope he has a good run of it with the Expos, but for the 6 games we have left with him. Ramirez, good play to his right. 2nd one. Can they turn it? Lee the scoop, and he held on. How about that around the horn double play? Nothing happening in the Phillies 6th. Top of the order coming up. Down 1 run.
What an effort on all 3 ends here. Grzelcyk gets upended, and Lee with a great play.
Chicago Cubs baseball is brought to you by Pepsi. It's the Cola.
Whoa. Never in a million years.
Never gonna happen.
Never say never.
Sammy Sosa. Hook my friend Sammy Sosa up with one of those special tacos.
Hey!
Tacos and Pepsi. Perfect double play. It's the cola.
He wore a fedora. He carried a whip. And his adventures broke all box office records. Now, this summer, Adventure has 2 new names. Ford Explorer and Ford Expedition, some of America's most popular SUVs. Now during the One Big Event Ford authorized clearance, get 0 for 60 or 4,000 cash back, plus 1,000 clearance cash. The adventure continues, and it's now playing for a limited time.
This portion of Chicago Cubs baseball is brought to you by your local Ford store.
Here's our upcoming schedule of Cubs and Sox baseball in high definition on WGN. Our friends at Grants tell us to check out the Indians and White Sox. August 8th at 2 o'clock. Then the Padres and Dodgers come in the middle of the month here at Wrigley Field. WGN baseball in high definition for our Chicago area audience only. And the top of the order up against Randy Wolf.
And the Cub bullpen up and going for the first time today. Corey 2 for 2 with a stolen base. Has yet to figure in the scoring. But you get on here at the top and you're in pretty good shape. And it is the aforementioned Ryan Dempster throwing in the pen.
A 2-hit game for Patterson today. And that's off the inner corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Patterson, Garciaparra, and Moises Alou.
A lot of young fans keeping score today. This could turn out to be one you save for the rest of your life.
Off his thumbs and out of play for a strike. 1-2 to Patterson. That sweeps away ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Corey Patterson, one of the most effective of all the Cub hitters against left-hand pitchers. Derek Lee has also done a good job along with Aramis Ramirez.
A floater bounced foul past Tomey at first. Corey's hit lefties at .302 this year. And .269 in total on the 2004 campaign. And his first shot in the leadoff spot comes today against the Phillies. That missed. Full count. Lieberthal with a double clutch before he threw the ball back to Wolf, just to give Ed Montague one more moment to think about ringing him up.
Well, if Wolf wants to lose this lead, a walk to Patterson to lead off the inning is a good way to do it.
Line drive right field, but Abreu's there. Hit a ton. 1 out.
He almost overran that ball. That ball was hooking, as will so often happen off the bat of a left-hander. Abreu, a great right fielder, but he had to reach back to make the play. Corey Patterson hits this ball right on the screws. You see Abreu breaking to his right, and the ball drifts back to his left, but he makes the play.
Garciaparra has bounced into a double play and has flied to left. It'll be interesting too, Steve, over the final 2 months to see how Garciaparra adjusts to hitting in this particular ballpark. And the reason I say that, as a right-hand hitter at Fenway Park, you have to be pull conscious. You don't want to hit the ball to right and right center there. That's Death Valley for a right-handed hitter.
Interestingly enough, although his average was higher at Fenway Park, his power numbers were better on the road. I think Nomar has enough power to hit the ball out any part of this ballpark, especially on a day like today. I don't know how many times he's had a look at Coors Field. He's going to particularly like that. That's coming up on the next trip.
Well, Garciaparra left the Red Sox with a 9-game hitting streak. And with his immediate insertion in the starting lineup as the 14th man to hit second for the Cubs this year.
Burrell is playing him very shallow in left field. I'm not quite sure why, but apparently he figures that he might be able to go back better than he will come in, or he figures if it goes over his head, it's going out of the park. But I mean, he is fairly shallow for a guy with power.
A floater, and he took it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's 2 off-speed breaking balls, and both in good spots.
Here comes the 1-2. Pulled toward third. Bell will wait on it. Garciaparra hustling down the line, out by a step, and is 0 for 3 today. Here's Alou, also hitless in today's game, and Wolf has set down 10 straight.
Well, one thing to bear in mind, although Tim Worrell is a very good closer, we've seen him effective against the Cubs. The loss of Billy Wagner, who's on the disabled list, has got to eventually affect this Phillies team. The left-handed closer, who normally is right around 90% in efficiency. When we were in Philadelphia, he took a cortisone shot in his left shoulder. He's going to be lost for a while.
The Phillies also moved to upgrade their bullpen. They picked up Rodriguez from the Giants and Todd Jones from the Reds, and that's lined to third, and will retire the side. 3 up, 3 down, 11 straight retired by Randy Wolf, and he's the beneficiary of a 1-run lead.
Stomach and Ringo.
I think the girls, lovables.
Goes without saying, Shorty. I hear you on that one. Through thick and thin. Thick and thin.
So, you'd be able to send any package anywhere overnight. What you think, Professor? You want in?
Son, if you can wait a year for a birthday, I think you can wait a week for a package.
You never know when a golden opportunity will come your way, like the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get your favorite Lexus vehicle at an incredible price.
And besides, people love the post office.
Yeah.
See your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
Well, since 1920, 5 men have picked up win number 300 in their first attempt. That will not be the case for Greg Maddux today. After 6, Maddux taken down, trailing 3-2, courtesy of an unearned run. And now Ryan Dempster will make his Cub debut almost 1 year to the day since he last pitched in a major league game. That was July 28th last year with Cincinnati against the same Philadelphia Phillies.
It's really an amazing comeback for Dempster. There you look at the career. Normally that surgery is an 18-month rehab. He said from the beginning that he felt he was way ahead of schedule. And he's got to face the bottom part of the order with the Philly bullpen up along with the Cub bullpen.
So Bird, Wolf, and Rollins are due, and Dempster was throwing the ball in the low to mid 90s in his stint down at Iowa. His first fastball at 93 to Bird. What do you remember of Dempster's repertoire before he got hurt?
I remember there was a time when he was a great sinker ball pitcher.
That one popped up shallow right. Sammy comes in and makes the play. Dempster gets his first man, Marlon Byrd.
I think what's going to happen to him, Chip, is that for a while he's going to have a little better pop on the fastball than he's used to having. Because quite obviously, at this point, if you're not going to start, and eventually down the road they figure he can do that, but out of the bullpen, if you don't pitch a lot of consecutive days and you're only going to face a few hitters, your fastball is going to be better. And he's popping the fastball now in the 93, 94 mile an hour range. The question is, will it have the same sink?
Hard hit ball, foul past first. It's 1-1.
Yet Jimmy Rollins, a switch hitter in the on-deck circle. He's been a better hitter from the right side. And then after Polanco, of course, you have Abreu and Tomei, the 2 left-handers. That's one of the reasons why the Cubs have Kent Mercker throwing in the pen.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Wolf, who at least to this point in line to deny Maddux win number 300 today, but Cubs still have 9 outs left.
And we're going to take a look at Lee Arthur Smith, the gigantic closer who could rush it up there in his day. 478 saves.
Randy Wolf lines it over short, and he's aboard. We told you how well he can hit, and he shows off a good-looking swing with 1 out in our 7th inning. Pull out your disco shirts and platform shoes. Tuesday, August 10th. It's 70s night at Wrigley Field, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Fan dressed in the best 70s outfits will get airline tickets, compliments of Southwest Airlines. Among the activities that night, Eric Estrada will guest conduct the 7th inning stretch. San Diego's here at 7 o'clock. 70s night, Tuesday, August 10th. Rollins skies that to left. And Moises, with the glasses gleaming, puts that away. 2 men down. Again, Dan Roan with us at the ballpark. Dan, what do you have for us?
Chip, down here field level with Kathy Maddux, Greg's wife. Well, better luck next time, huh?
Definitely, definitely. It was a great game, though. I'm happy to see he pitched well. It's all he can do. It's a hot day. I'm sure he's just kind of, you know, did what he could do today. So we'll go for it in another 5 days.
How was it around the house this week? Same old?
Oh, yeah, the house was same old except for all the phone calls and everybody wanting to come in and all that. But, you know, it's basically just another game that he's going to focus on. He's focused on, he focuses the same on every game. Every game is very important to him. And he basically prepares the same way for every game.
You know, you've got some family here today. Do you all go back to San Francisco now next week?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I guess we'll plan now after the game and see how many. But it's lucky because everyone's from Vegas, so that's a lot closer trip, and it might be a lot easier for everybody to get down there. So the kids and I, his parents will definitely all go down there.
All right, Kathy, thanks. Go get them next week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much. Thanks to Kathy and the rest of the Maddux family for sharing this day with us. That's upstairs to Polanco. The Cubs have an off day tomorrow. And we'll fly to Colorado. Will they keep Maddux on 5 days, or will it be the 5th game? Would you guess?
5th game. This is a huge out. You don't want to get to Abreu, and it doesn't matter who's going to face him.
And that's inside.
And you'd have to think for Ryan Dempster coming back, number one, a very emotional appearance for him. Also, you might have a tendency to try to overthrow the ball, and consequently, you don't have the pinpoint control you'd want. You'd love to see Abreu leading off the next inning.
3-1 count. And that's driven down the right field line and out of play. So if Steve is correct, one would presume Maddux's next start would be
Saturday in San Francisco.
Saturday in San Francisco. Game 2 of that 3-game set out west.
You know, Greg Maddux had 2 complete games. And quite obviously, the last thing you want to do is deny him 1 more day of rest. This is a pretty strong 5-man rotation. You like to see them all pitch.
So and Dempster walks Polanco.
I got to believe that you got to bring in Merker to face Abreu. And I believe that Dusty thinks the same thing.
So Wolf, having to run the bases now, is at second base. Polanco walks. And indeed it will be Abreu against Kent Merker. Great welcome back, though, to the major leagues for Ryan Dempster. An amazing story. About a year off Tommy John surgery, he's back in the big leagues throwing the ball in the mid-90s. So Ryan Dempster, welcome back. Let's see if Kent Merker can escape 7th inning problems. Phillies 3, Cubs 2.
Think about it. Casinos, dancing girls, swimming.
Kent Merker versus Bobby Abreu with 2 on and 2 out. This is a critical juncture in this ball game.
Merker's had a great year out of the pen. Bobby Abreu has had a great run at it against Merker. But he hits just about everybody well. And all Merker wants to do is try to jam him on the inner portion. Kent, like so many guys who somewhere along the line passed through Atlanta, has come up with a pretty good changeup. And there you look at a very impressive season. 2 on, 2 out.
A ball and a strike, top of the hour, and a roller hit towards second. Gruntalana gives ground. Quick throw to first, and he just did get him. And that'll retire the side. Let's welcome back all-time saves leader, Lee Smith. He's here to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Lee Smith. Hello, all you River Cub fans out there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Baseball soon to fly when you're hitting them a mile high. Tuesday at 8 on WGN.
The kids WB. It's coming. To WGN. Starting September 12th. Cool.
Let's have a ball with our Illinois Lottery moment. The Illinois Lottery celebrating its 30th anniversary. I'd pay to watch this man throw the ball anytime, anywhere.
I'm looking for save number 479. Michael Barrett out there. I asked him before the game, as you look at Lee Arthur Smith, I said, you're still wearing 5. Has Nomar said anything to you? He said, no, he hasn't. I said, well, if he does, tell him that you're having a good year. You'd like to keep 5, but that 10 is available.
Yeah, if you're really good at number 5, he'd be twice as good wearing number 10 for the Cubs,
no
don't you
question.
think? Well, let's see if Sammy Sosa can get things going. That big, slow breaking ball for Randy Wolf has paid dividends for him. He's set down 11 straight. And the Cubs, with 2 solo home runs, are down 1, 3-2.
Lee, 18 major league seasons, 8 different teams. You spent a great deal of time with the Cubs. Then they moved you to the Red Sox. And you made some stops in between. Could you ever imagine 478 major league saves?
Oh, definitely not. Because when I first came up, I really didn't want to be a relief pitcher, man. Because at that time, it was like a slap in the face to be a relief pitcher. Because most of the time, guys were trying to do the starting rotation, and it was like the guys wasn't good enough to start. They tossed them in the bullpen. But when they defined the setup and closer role, that's when I liked it after that. Get back to the ballpark. You got a chance to play every day. I really love that game.
Well, also coming in late in this ballpark, depending on the shadows of April and May and September, it wasn't all that easy to see the ball here.
Well, I tell you what, that 305 start was a beautiful thing for me.
Fly ball right center field. Abreu's not getting that. That's off the base of the wall. Sammy on his way to second, and a good start here in the 7th inning. First Cub hit since Patterson singled in the 3rd inning.
Sammy takes that off-speed pitch, goes to right field with it. He's a tying run.
Lee, I've got to ask you your impression of the Eric Gagne streak that ended this year. All those consecutive saves without blowing one.
I tell you what, that's really amazing. Right now, I don't think that record would ever be close to it again, you know. But that young man right there, from when I saw him when he first come up, you know, he was like long relief, you know, and then the way those guys transform, you know, you look at so many good setup men that can't close for some reason. But I tell you what, this guy fell in there, and I think the Dodgers found a great one.
Your secret, obviously, was a blazing fastball, but from a preparation standpoint, what was the most important thing, and what is the most important thing in your mind of being an effective closer?
Well, I think the main thing is when you come in the game, you have an idea of what you're going to do. I mean, for me, I even pitch situations. I even pitch score the game, you know, things like that. The guy that I would pitch around and stuff like that. But I think a lot of it comes from the dugout. Now, I never had to have the manager come out and tell me who hits me well or who don't. I remember those guys, and I just think the preparation when you go between the lines. I was probably one of the guys that kid around in the clubhouse and things like that. But when it come time for me to come in the game, I made sure I know what I was going to do, because you don't get a second chance.
1 strike count to Ramirez, and that tied him up inside. It's even at 1-1. Nobody up in the Philly pen. Cubs threatening to tie here in the bottom of our 7th.
Lee, why do you think it's taken so long for a lot of people to automatically figure out a number that a closer can enter the Hall of Fame.
I tell you what, it's been really amazing, man. You look at these teams probably the last 15 years, if those guys don't have a good bullpen or a good closer, they don't go anywhere. And you listen to all the organization talk about bullpen by committee, that's not going to work. When you get out there and you come to the ballpark and you know what your role is, you know what inning you're going to play, I think that has so much to do with it. But I heard some of the guys speaking about closers going to the Hall of Fame. They're like, these guys only throw one inning. You know, I'm like, when I come up, I've pitched about 3 or 4 innings in the short relief role. And I remember one game I pitched in Houston. I pitched 4 innings, and I didn't get a save. And it was up to the official score. He said it wasn't an effective 4 innings. He said it wasn't an effective 3 innings. I'm like, no, I pitched 4 innings. Well, I didn't get a save for that. But I was just so happy to get in the game, and because at the time I was really a mop-up, you know. And we had a few guys ahead of me in that bullpen. We had Tidrow, and Bruce was still there, and that was Jay Howell and all those guys in the bullpen at that time.
2 on, nobody out. Ramirez walks on 5 pitches.
Well, so far, Lee, you're bringing the Cubs a little good luck as they're putting the game on the bases. And Joe Kerrigan comes out. What is it about this Cub organization? Because when I look at a whole lot of the guys that, number 1, are on that all-time saves list, a lot of them either were developed by the Cubs or passed through here sometime during their career. I mean, there's a long history of great closers wearing Cub uniforms.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, if you just look at like Bill Connell, guys don't remember him, Jay Howell and all those guys, they actually came through. We were, matter of fact, in the bullpen at the same time for the Cubbies.
Bruce Sutter and Willie Hernandez.
Yes, I mean, and you just look at it, and Randy Myers and all those guys like that, man, it's amazing. But I tell you what, I think that this ballpark probably made me a better pitcher, because a lot of guys that throw hard, they just come out and rear back and let it fly, you know. And this pitching in Wrigley and then going to Fenway was one of the things where I think helped me develop my pinpoint control because of the short fences.
So Derek Lee's going to hit with 2 men on, nobody out. Here in this 7th inning, Joe Kerrigan's meeting a brief one. The Philly pen starts to get busy. Real Cormier, the left-hander, Todd Jones, the right-hander. And that's off the plate, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, you'd love to see the Cubs get to a tiring Randy Wolf before the Phillies go to the bullpen. Bullpen, by and large, for them has been good, but it's decimated by injuries at this point. That's one of the reasons why they're probably going with Wolf as long as they are.
Way upstairs, ball 2, 2-0 your count. There might be a man short in that bullpen, too. I'm not sure if Felix Rodriguez has joined the team yet.
Well, he was supposed to. We don't know if he's here. Larry Bowa said yesterday he thought he would be at the game. He's not throwing.
Lee thought about a 3-run homer and came up empty. 2 balls and a strike. Lee Arthur, what are you doing these days?
Well, I am a roving pitching instructor for the San Francisco Giants. And we have some really, really good pitchers in our organization right now.
Well, have they asked you to close yet?
No, not yet. I don't think they're going to let me close from 40 feet away.
Well, it's great to see you here at the ballpark. A special day in Chicago. And you look good wearing that 1984 Cub jersey.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel good, man. I'm glad to know it still fits.
I was going to say, had to be a big jersey. But Lee Smith, great to see you. And your call to Cooperstown is coming.
It's very, very nice to get back here with you guys again, man.
Thank you, Lee.
All right, Stevie. Bye.
Lee Smith. Cubs batting here in the 7th inning. Have a 2-2 count with Derek Lee. Mark Grudzielanek waiting on deck. Sosa at second. Aramis at first. A big out to get for Wolf. And it's full, 3-2.
Might be one of the bigger pitches of the ball game for Wolf, because if he doesn't make it, he's probably not going to be around. Larry Bowa with a big decision. The fans on their feet. They came here to see Maddux 300th. They'd like to walk away seeing a Cubs win.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Tied him up with a fastball, and Derek fouled it straight back. Again, 39,000 standing, and the 3-2 pitch. He got it. Off-speed pitch, and Derek is out number 1.
That shows a lot of confidence by Randy Wolf. He tried to throw the fastball by him, 3-2. Derek fouled it back. He went to the straight change. Just a great time to have the confidence in an off-speed pitch from the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera. We'll take a look at just out number 1, however. Grudzielanek last time missed a home run by an eyelash.
He is 0 for 2. David Bell also robbed him in the 2nd inning. Good speed aboard for the Cubs. Down a run in this 7th inning. Fly ball right field. That's down the line. Tailing away from Abreu. That'll drop. Sammy around third. He's going to score without a play. Grudzielanek with a double ties the game at 3.
First time in the 7th spot for Mark Grudzielanek, and he drives home run number 13. Ties the ball game. This one almost gets by Abreu. And the question for Larry Boa, how long do you go with Wolf?
Now Jose Macias will come on. He's the lone switch hitting bat the Cubs have at their disposal. And so you're right, the decision is for Boa. Do you let Wolf face Macias, or do you bring in Jones and let Jose hit from the left side? The Cubs have him 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and the game tied 3-3.
Well, Macias gives you a lot of flexibility. A better average hitter from the left side. He's got more power, however, from the right side. That will be it for Wolf. And he hasn't made the designation yet, although he has to go to the pen.
So Wolf goes 6 1/3, 6 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He surrendered 2 home runs, and Wolf, approaching 80 pitches in the ball game, is in serious trouble here in the 7th inning. It'll be the right-hander or the left. No, it'll be the left-hander. Real Cormier is on in this 7th inning. Real Cormier's been a very busy man. This is the 54th time he's taken the hill for the Phillies.
Well, he's had to be a busy man because most of the time he's the lone left-hander down there. Look at those numbers. He's had very good control. ERA not where he would like it. 4-5 this year. And he'll face Macias. The infield has to come in at all 4 positions. You had Michael Barrett in the on-deck circle. If he's announced, you've got Todd Jones for him. And again, Macias, a little more potent bat from the right side.
Boy, a hit here would be nice. The Cubs trying to win in Nomar Garciaparra's Cub debut. Maddux off the hook. Game tied at 3. Philly infield in with 1 out. Boy, it fell apart in a hurry for Wolf. He had retired 11 straight men entering this 7th inning. And a ground ball toward short. Rollins can't handle it. A run will score. Heading to third on the play, Grudzielanek, and the Cubs lead 4-3 on contact.
That'll go as a base hit, and it shows you when you bring the infield in, if that ball is not hit right at you, you have very little chance to make the play. Big at bat for Macias. Rollins to his right. It hits off the heel of the glove, bounds away. It does go as a hit. Larry Boa coming out once again. Jones in the game. The Cubs with a big 2-spot and the lead here in the bottom of the 7th.
So 4-3 your score. Jones will face Michael Barrett. The hit parade continues in the 7th inning when we return. Compliments of Pepsi. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. There is no purchase necessary. For complete rules, visit Cubs.com.
Todd Jones with some pretty good numbers. He inherits runners at the corners. And Michael Barrett steps in.
Career year at the plate for Barrett. 12 home runs, 48 driven in. Jones misses way upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes.
Ed Wade, the GM, trying to do something to rejuvenate his bullpen. Jones, one of the acquisitions, and Felix Rodriguez, another one. Rodriguez cost him Ricky Leday, and we'll see him when we go to San Francisco.
Fly ball left center field, pretty deep. Will it be deep enough to score Grudzielanek? There's the catch. The throw is going to be cut off. Sac fly, RBI. 5-3 game. Barrett continues to play good, solid, fundamental offensive baseball.
The situation called for a fly ball, and Michael Barrett delivered. Barrett driving in run number 49 for Todd Jones. The pitch is up in the zone. You don't want it there when you need a ground ball. And Barrett gets it just far enough. Bird does not have a particularly good arm. The Cubs take advantage of it.
And close the book on Wolf. 5 earned runs. Runner goes. Breaking ball. Throw to second late. And Macias easily stole second on Todd Jones.
But Jones didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him. And Macias, knowing that he wasn't going to look over there, took advantage with his 3rd stolen base in 4 attempts.
Good day at the plate for Patterson today. He's 2 out of 3 with a stolen base. He bunted in the 1st inning and hit a rocket to right that Abreu snagged. And Jones misses high and away, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. It's a final in Atlanta. The Braves beat the Mets 6-5. They could have a 5.5 game lead if the Cubs can hang on here, and that hit Patterson. It'll bring up Nomar with 2 on and 2 out.
Not only did it hit Patterson, but it caromed off him and hit Lieberthal. A standing ovation for Nomar Garciaparra. He's fielded his position flawlessly.
Nomar Garciaparra
hasn't done much with the bat yet, but the fans here in Chicago letting him know that they wouldn't mind seeing him stick around for a while.
While we were driving in, we listened to his pregame press conference. He said he loves the city of Chicago. It hasn't taken these fans long to fall in love with him. Low on away, ball 1.
Well, I think it was somewhat surprising as you look at the number 5 that he wore for so many years with the Red Sox, that he had never seen Wrigley Field. All the years he came in to play the Sox, he's getting a good look at it today.
That's upstairs. He didn't swing. Ball 2, 2-0.
And as long as he is here, when he looks around, he's going to see a whole lot of people.
It'll be interesting, as it has been with us in our conversations with Todd Walker, to get his impressions of Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, the Boston fandom, the Chicago fandom. 2-0 the count. Line drive left field. There's his first hit. Around third, Macias. The Burrell throw is terrible. RBI for Nomar Garciaparra. It's 6-3.
RBI number 1 in the National League. Wendell Kim, knowing that Burrell doesn't throw real well, says it's time to go. 2 outs in the inning. Let's put the pressure on Burrell. The throw well off the mark. Garciaparra drives in the first of what will be many runs in a Cub uniform.
That run charged to Real Cormier. And so Garciaparra, a 1-for-4 day with an RBI. And Moises Alou, the hitter. The Cubs plate 4 so far in this 7th inning. Kyle Farnsworth ready in the Cub pen for the top of the 8th. Roberto Hernandez getting up in the Philly pen.
Well, after the base hit, Nomar Garciaparra, who's driven in a lot of runs in his career, wanting the baseball. That's going to be a souvenir. His first National League run batted in.
toward left. Burl chased back at the track. At the wall, he makes the play, and that'll retire the side. Alou was jammed and hit it 367 feet to left. Cubs score 4 in the 7th and turn the game around. Listen to Wrigley.
The 265 horsepower, 7-passenger Acura MDX. It's at home just about any place on earth.
We go to the 8th inning, and indeed we've got Nomar. An RBI single in that 4-run Cubs 7th. And Kyle Farnsworth takes over for the Cubs on the mound. Jose Macias into the game in right field for the Cubs.
Well, why that's notable, and we don't know exactly, but Sammy Sosa took some extra time at second base. To gather himself, and then when he went into the dugout, I know Sandy Crum went over and talked with him, and we'll have to see. It's a very hot, very humid day. We'll find out if he's feeling all right or not. Barrett stays in behind the plate. Good job of pitching by Kent Merker to get out of that inning. The reemergence of Ryan Dempster, who was just activated. It's really nice to see him. And so far, the Cubs with a 3-run lead and 6 outs to go.
Maddux will not figure in today's decision, but he'll be the first to say as Thome tomahawks that ball to right field. Macias battling the sun and wind will play it off the ivy. Jim Thome's got 2, takes a look at where Macias is and puts on the brakes.
Well, Thome's not going to lead the league in triples. And so knowing you're 3 runs down, he doesn't want to add to that 1 triple he already has. So wisely stays at second. Macias just inserted in the game. Very difficult play. The wind taking that ball beyond his grasp, and it hits high off the vines.
So that brings up Burl, who's 1 for 3 today. That a leadoff 6th inning single. Cubs 6, Phillies 3, trying to take 2 of 3 from the Fightins this weekend. And a slider tipped for a strike. Houston beat the Reds 7-5 today. Pirates leading Milwaukee 5-3 in the middle of the 7th inning. Expos 2, Florida 0 in the 3rd. One ball, 1 strike. No score in San Diego, where the Dodgers and Padres hook up. San Diego 2.5 back out west.
Dodgers traded away a great setup man in Guillermo Mota. They traded away the left-hander in the pen, Tom Martin. And at the end of the day, they didn't come away with Randy Johnson. A lot of people felt that they were going to do that. They also traded away Paul LaDuca, who was one of the leaders on that team, and they didn't come away with Charles Johnson. They got Brett Maine. He'll team with David Ross behind the plate. And they did get Brad Penny.
And the reaction in Los Angeles, I think, to that trade was really mixed. They were hoping to get Randy Johnson and Charles Johnson. Does that take the luster off the players that they did, however, acquire from the Marlins?
No, I think it was certainly a decent trade. Paul DePotesta trying as hard as he could at the end. He came away without either Johnson.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
Nice day here, huh?
The best. Rolled foul past third. Hits are even at 8. So are the double entendres as Burl stands in with Bell waiting next.
I do know that the Canine Cub Club very happy looking on in Scottsdale. A resurgent Sox along with Otto and Larry.
They're probably happy Randy Johnson stayed down there, huh?
I think so. They really like to watch him pitch.
3-2. 2 on, nobody out.
That one just missing, and Kyle wanted that call. Ed Montague had other ideas. Things starting to get a little tense here in the 8th.
Bright, sunshiny Sunday afternoon. And here's Bell, 1-for-3 in the game against Greg Maddux. Now he'll face Kyle Farnsworth. Cubs have turned 2 double plays. They'd love one here. The pen gets busy. Off his thumbs and foul to the right side. Strike 1 to David Bell.
Mike Remlinger throwing in the pen. Looks like Amari Telemaco throwing in the bullpen for the Philadelphians.
Late swing and a foul ball again. 0-2 to Bell. Cubs are trying to hand the Phillies their 6th loss in 7 games played so far on a 13-game road trip. And it gets no easier for them. They head to San Diego and Los Angeles next.
They've scuffled on the road, the losers of 7 of the last 9.
0-2 to Bell. Up and away, 1-2.
Next 2 guys, good men for 2. You can get him to hit the ball on the ground. You only need one of them to ground into a double play.
The Phillies will travel west and have an off day tomorrow before they play Tuesday night in San Diego. The 1-2 to Bell. It sweeps outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
David Bell has had a resurgent year in the power department. Last year, very disappointing at 195, hit a grand total of 4 home runs. This year, he's hit 12. Remember, the wind has been howling out all day, so you'd love to keep the ball on the ground.
Kyle's pitching himself and the team in a big hole here. 2 on, nobody out. 3-run game, wind blowing out. And the catcher, Mike Lieberthal, waiting next. Three-2. And he just did stay alive.
That was a great slider by Farnsworth, and Bell did an excellent job of getting a piece of it. Normally you figure you throw this one at 3-2, you're down on strikes, but Bell was able to just barely stay alive. I think this is a pretty good double play combination of Garciaparra and Grudzielanek. They'll get the throw off if they can get the ground ball.
Full count pitch. Popped out of play again. Good battle here by Bell against Kyle. Again, a payoff. And again, Bell with a great effort to keep the at-bat alive.
David Bell, not one of the guys that strikes out a great deal. And with every passing pitch at 3-2, you've got to use a little more of the plate. The advantage that normally rests with the pitcher starts to swing toward the hitter. This is a great at-bat and a great sequence for Farnsworth at this point.
Toward third. Oh, knocked down nicely by Ramirez, and that's all he could do.
Well, that's a big play because that's a double. That's 2 runs if he doesn't knock it down. It's a tremendous at-bat by Bell. A fine play by Ramirez. If that's down the line, the Cubs have big trouble. He's able to knock it down, but as it trickles away, Larry Rothschild sprints to the mound. The bases are loaded with Phillies. And things getting a little tense here at Wrigley Field.
A double, a walk, and an infield hit has them full for Lieberthal, who's 0 for 3.
Lieberthal 2 for 6 against Farnsworth. He's got a home run. Larry's telling him, think about keeping the ball down. Let's get the double play. Don't worry about the man at third. Minimize the damage.
So Lieberthal comes up. He's knocked in 40 men. He hit into a double play last time up. The Cubs would love to see him do it here. 6-3 in the 8th. Cubs lead, but nobody out. Ball 1, no place to put him. Bird waits next.
Well, I would think that they would take Bird down for a pinch hitter. They do have Utley on the bench.
Lined out of play, and Lieberthal broke his bat.
Well, I think Lieberthal hit that ball before it hit him. It looked like it was sailing inside. He was able to get the bat out. Watch it again. Watch Lieberthal. His ball is well up and in, and he cracks the bat. The Cubs will easily trade the run if they can get the double play ground ball. Now, on a hard hit ball at Farnsworth or Ramirez, you can go home to first.
Ball 2 off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Again, something else to ponder. Sammy Sosa taken out of the game. For what reason, we do not yet know. So the Cubs will not have his bat leading off the bottom of this inning. And he's had a good day at the plate today. 2 balls, 1 strike to Mike Lieberthal. Didn't mean to swing, and there's a break. 2-2. Winner of the Eddie Shepard look-alike contest looking on in the 8th. The parade and the merry-go-round will get started. 3-2.
Merry-go-round isn't starting anywhere if he can strike him out. Cubs, in lieu of that, will take the pop-up. And they'd love a ground ball.
3-2. He got him. Slider, and Lieberthal retired.
He looks back at Ed Montague. He thought that one swept low and away. They will take Bird down for a pinch hitter. Farnsworth goes to the slider. From the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera, it looks like a pitch that might have crossed the plate. A strike. From that angle, it looks like the Cubs got a break. It will be Chase Utley that will come into the game. Now the ball in the court of Dusty Baker.
So Utley announced. No move yet from Dusty, who makes the adjustments on his lineup card, and now he indeed is going to pop out. So Dusty Baker will make the call to the bullpen. Farnsworth faced 4 men, and he will leave with 1 out and the bases loaded, and a precarious 6-3 lead still on in favor of the Cubs. So let's see how Mike Remlinger fares when we return to Wrigley.
Think about it. casinos, dancing girls, swimming pools, surrounded by a sea of neon lights. We'll make millions, I tell you. What do you think?
I think you ought to stay out of the sun.
You never know when a golden opportunity will come your way, like the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get your favorite Lexus vehicle at an incredible price.
A 24-hour drive-through chapel.
See your Chicago area Lexus dealer.
Build your deck with the best treated decking, AC2 from Menards, and don't pay till spring.
Schaefer, the team physician, walking out of the clubhouse, he said the heat did get to him. Said he's just fine, but got a little bit dizzy out in that heat and humidity, you guys, so had to take a seat for the rest of the game.
Well, Lord knows, Dan, we're dizzy up here. Hopefully Mike Remlinger is not dizzy down there. And he will face Chase Utley, who comes off the bench. One of the real promising young players, a guy that a lot of people wanted in trades. He's 6 for 14, a couple of home runs, and 6 driven in as a pinch hitter.
So he'll bat, bases loaded, 1 out. 6-3 Cubs have the lead. Wind still very much a factor. Let's see how Remlinger handles that, and Utley. That's a good way to start. Strike 1.
Mike Remlinger on for the 23rd time. The ERA is shade above 4. He inherits the bases full of Phillies. And Utley with good speed, but the Cubs a double play away from getting out of the inning and keeping their 3-run lead.
There's a break. That was a ball. Utley fouls it away and finds himself in a 2-strike count.
Troy Hawkins loosening up in the pen.
Oh, and 2 to Chase Utley. 0-3 to Utley. 2 outs.
Jason Michaels has been announced, and he'll be the pinch hitter. Remlinger on 3 pitches just blows Utley away.
So everybody can relax for a moment. Bases still loaded, 2 outs. And Barrett with a good stop. He came on as a Cub pinch hitter in the 7th inning and provided an RBI.
That's a career of Michaels this year. He's 7 for 27 as a pinch hitter.
Michaels, a 4th-round pick by the Phillies in 1998. He's been up and down with the big league club in each of the last 4 seasons. Two balls, no strikes. Popped up. Michaels flips the bat away in disgust. And a tumbling catch by Grudzielanek retires the side. What a job by Mike Remlinger. Bases loaded, 1 out, and the Phillies can't hit the ball out of the infield. It's 6-3 your score. Jason Michaels stays in the game. He'll play center field. Amori Telemaco is on to pitch. He'll face Tom Goodwin first. And the top of the 8th inning, Steve, ended with an acrobatic play at second base.
The wind blowing straight out, it affects everybody, including the infielders. And in the all's well that ends well category, Mark Grudzielanek puts it away. Had it all the way. 3-run lead, 3 outs to go, and Tom Goodwin facing the former Cub, Amari Telemaco.
And Tom takes A called strike. Cubs got a pair of runs in the second. Back-to-back homers from Sammy Sosa and Aramis Ramirez. Then scored 4 in the 7th against Wolf, Cormier, and Todd Jones. That's off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Raining down in Florida, where the Expos lead by 2.
Well, if the Cubs do indeed hang on to win this, there'll be a lot of heroes. Remember the play by Ramirez at third. That could turn out to be a big one.
2-2. And he knocked down the rocket shot hit by David Bell. Kept Thome and Burrell from scoring. Then the next 3 hitters for the Phillies couldn't hit it out of the infield in run scoring opportunities, and the Cubs still have the lead. A little high. Full count to Tom Goodwin. 3-2. Pulled toward first and off the glove of Thome. It's a foul ball.
Would have been a good effort. And you see Jerry Meals right on the line. He had a good look at it. And he says that Thome touched it in foul territory.
So Goodwin gets another swing here with a full count. And he is retired on strikes. Or did it hit the ground first? Apparently so. Minnesota came back to beat Boston today 4-3. White Sox beat Detroit 6-4. Yankees have a 4-run lead over Baltimore. 9-5 heading to the 9th. Goodwin down on strikes leading off the 8th inning. Sunday, August 15th, the Dodgers are here at 1:20. Arrive early. The first 10,000 adults 18 and older will get a Cubs home baseball cap. Compliments of Charter One Bank. And here is one of your aforementioned unsung heroes today.
Well, he hit a home run in the second when Sosa and Ramirez went back-to-back. But it's the defensive play. It's been a huge factor in this one. Let's take another look. Runners at first and second, a 3-2 count. And that ball rifled down the line. He's able to get a glove on it, keep it in the infield, and the Phillies come away empty.
A ball low evens the count, 1-1. Oakland beat Texas today. 4-1 the final there. Oakland now with a 1.5 lead over the Rangers, who've dropped 8 of their last 11.
It's been a nice year, there's no doubt, and a surprising year for the Rangers. It'll be a little difficult for them to hold off Oakland and Anaheim as Anaheim starts to get healthy. They were in the middle of a rebuilding process under John Hart. And that infield is one of the best around.
Mile high pop up behind home plate. Lieberthal 2 down. That'll bring up Derek Lee. He looks for his first base hit today. So Minnesota's lead will remain 5 games in the AL Central. Oakland a 1.5 over Texas. If the Cubs hang on here in the National League East, Atlanta will have a 5.5 game lead over them. Cardinals play later. Cubs 10.5 back. And the Dodgers and Padres separated by 2.5 in the National League West.
I'm not sure about the rally hats. Cubs need the bullpen and defensive hats.
Low and away, 1 ball, no strikes to Derek Lee. Again in Colorado Tuesday night. We'll have game 1 and 3 of that series here on WGN. Jeff Facero and Kerry Wood hook up Tuesday night. Jamie Wright and Carlos Zambrano Wednesday. Thursday, Jason Jennings and Mark Pryor. Then it's off for a weekend set in San Francisco.
Things stay the same. LaTroy Hawkins will come on and try to nail down save number 16.
Ball 3 low.
Well, Derek Lee doesn't swing at a lot of 3-0 pitches. This would be a good time to turn him loose.
They did. He hit it a mile high to left. Burrow will have the 3rd and final out of the 8th. On we go to the 9th. 3 more outs to get. LaTroy Hawkins will come on for the Cubs.
Real-time feature, MLB.com Game Day. For fans who just can't get enough of the game, Cubs.com. The #1 site for Cubs fans, where baseball is always on.
There's your score, 6-3 as we head to the 9th inning of play. Our producer of Cubs baseball on WGN, Pete Toma. Skip Fillmore Ellison, our director. Mark Brady, our associate producer. The executive producer of WGN Sports, Bob Warwald. Thanks to Eric Welch and Dan Driscoll upstairs in our broadcast booth. And our studio coordinator, Jeff Carrier. Thanks as well to Dan Roan, helping us on this special day at Wrigley Field. The debut of Nomar Garciaparra, to this point, a most successful one.
LaTroy Hawkins comes on, and he's got to face the top of the order. And LaTroy looking for save number 16 in this appearance number 52. Bullpen has been real good for the Cubs today.
They've given up just 2 hits. Popped out of play for strike 2 to Rollins, who's got a 2-hit day today. He led the game off with a 1st inning homer, singled in the 5th. That single and an error brought home Marlon Byrd for what was at that point the lead run for the Phillies. But 4 for the Cubs in the 7th has us at a 6-3 score. Popped up left side. Who wants it? Nomar Garciaparra. 1 man down. Top of the hour in the top of the 9th. 6-3 Cubs. Let's pause for station identification.
You're watching Chicago's official summer baseball station, WGN-TV Chicago.
Having never seen the wind at Wrigley Field, Nomar's done a nice job of patrolling the shortstop position today. He's handled that position flawlessly. He does have his first National League run batted in.
And that's what we hope we will see a lot of from the Cubs. W's as we turn the calendar to August. Polanco 0 for 3 with a walk today. Strike 1 called. Milwaukee's taken a 6-5 lead over Pittsburgh now as they go to the 9th. That figures to be Dan Kolb time for the Brewers. Strike 2 call.
And when we talked with Todd Walker before the game on what advice he might have had for Nomar, he said with the thick grass here on speedy base runners, play in 1 step closer at shortstop.
He'll be tested here. Bad hop.
See, if he played a step back, that one might have not hopped.
That's a base hit. Bad hop ground ball puts Polanco at first in front of Bobby Abreu.
Not much you could do with that. Unless, of course, you are Rubber Man, and then you would have been able to stretch to get it. Took a real bad hop over his head. So 1 aboard for Abreu. Polanco gets a gift.
Abreu homered in the first as well. And he now has a 7-game hit streak. In fact, he's been the best hitter for the Phillies on what to this point has been a woeful road trip. That missed the inside corner, ball 1.
When the Cubs have gotten out Abreu, it's because they've been able to jam him. But there is, however, very little margin for error on the inner portion.
Inside corner. Hawkins got it right where he wanted to place it. 1-1 now.
Jelly Bean doing a little late scouting on Nomar.
One count. Popped up again left side. Can anybody catch up to this one? Ramirez and Garciaparra. It'll be Nomar again.
That's a good play, retiring a very tough hitter. The wind helped push that ball back toward the field of play. No chance at all for Ramirez. No chance for Alou. The only guy that had a chance was Garciaparra. He's already paid big defensive dividends. This is a tough play.
So what's left of a sweat-soaked crowd at Wrigley Field on its feet for Jim Thome and hopefully the final out. Thome 0 for 13 until he doubled leading off the 8th. The Phillies still a very dangerous team even with 2 outs. 31 times they've come back to win this year.
And Thome is one of the few guys, number 1, who've seen Hawkins, and number 2, have a luck against Hawkins from his days over in the American League when they used to hook up with LaTroy at Minnesota and Thome with the Indians.
One strike to Thome. Trying to tie him up inside like he did with Abreu. 1-1. Wind still howling toward right.
Although the wind seems to have died down just a touch, it's still blowing out toward right center. Thome's enormously strong. Hawk's going to try to sink it away from him.
Lined right center field. That'll get to the wall. Polanco around second on his way to third. And the Phillies will bring the tying run to the plate yet again. This time in the 9th inning off LaTroy Hawkins. Back-to-back doubles for Thome, whose bat appears to be getting healthy just in time for them to head west.
Well, let's hope that we've seen Jim Thome hit for the last time in this ballpark this year. That makes him 7 for 15 against the Hawk. We told you he was one of the few guys in this lineup that matches up very well with him. Another very strong hitter to dodge. Then let's send them on their way.
Low and away, ball 1. Bell waits next. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You have to play deeper in the outfield. You can live with a single. You just don't want to see a double. Now Ramirez is well off the line at third.
Over the outside corner, Burrell in disbelief argues with Ed Montague.
I think that's the same spot as a pitch to Lieberthal. Troy loves that spot.
Phillies down to their last strike.
Probably wouldn't mind going there again.
Out of play, upper deck by Burrell. One ball, 2 strikes. He got him! And the Cubs beat the Phillies 6-3. But not without some scary 8th and 9th inning moments, but the Cub pen rises to the challenge to take 2 of 3 this weekend.
It's showbiz. A little drama at the end on a very exciting day. Only one piece of disappointment. Greg Maddux did not chalk up win number 300, but LaTroy Hawkins, chalking up save number 16, sends the Phillies packing. The first day in the Nomar era, a successful one for the Cubs. They take 2 of 3 from the Phillies, and it's a very happy Cub team as they will wend their way west to Colorado after the off day.
So for the Cubs, 6 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left 3. 3 runs, 11 hits, no errors. They left 11. Merker the winner. Wolf the loser. And LaTroy Hawkins picks up his 16th save of the season. What does this victory do for the Cubs in the wild card? Number 1, they pick up a full game on the Phillies. They're a game and a half behind San Diego. The Padres are in action against the Dodgers out west. At last report, no score after 3 at Petco Park in San Diego, where the Phillies will be heading next after an off day tomorrow. We'll rejoin you Tuesday night in Colorado. But let's rejoin Dan Roan with the newest Cub, Nomar Garciaparra.
Nomar, congratulations. That's a way to start out your Cub career, huh?
Well, you know, I'm glad we won. You know, unfortunately, we loved to have gotten Maddux that win right there. I think that's what everybody was hoping for right there. I mean, that was our goal. But good thing is we won, and, you know, we'll give it a go. And as long as we keep winning, we'll be happy.
I'll tell you what, the ovation you got when you took the field, then when you came to the plate for the first time, that had to be something special.
It really is. I mean, I can't thank these fans enough. I mean, this place is just unbelievable. I can't explain the emotions that have been going through me right now. I mean, I've been talking to the guys. I go, this place is absolutely unbelievable, amazing, and the fans are just great. They really are.
What was it like to play in the ballpark? I know this is the first time you'd ever even been inside of it, much less had to play a game at shortstop.
Yeah, well, you know, there's going to be some adjustments. I mean, that's what happens in any new ballpark that you go into. But like I said, it's great. I mean, the energy here, I mean, I still can't get over it. I mean, these fans are just unbelievable. They really are.
Well, I know you'd like to have gotten a few hits today, but you sure got one in that big inning. I know you called for the baseball.
Yeah, I wanted that baseball and everything. I mean, you know, it's my first time, you know, here in the National League in a Cub uniform, so I want to remember that one for sure.
All right, man, we'll let you get in there and celebrate with your teammates. Thanks. Congratulations. Good to see you. Nomar Garciaparra. Back to you guys.
All right, Dan, thank you very much. Thanks for being a part of this special broadcast today, Steve. And the Cubs continue to play very good baseball. They split the season series with the Phillies and take 2 of 3 by virtue of a 6-3 win today.
Very exciting day around the ballpark today for a number of different reasons. In the end, the only thing that matters is that W you're looking at right there. The Cubs come away with a win. It's on to Colorado with with some reinforcements. This lineup now top to bottom is a whole lot more formidable with Garciaparra in it.
There's your final score. We'll recap it and take a look at some of the highlights from the brief homestand finale when we come right back.
The new season is coming.
I'm waiting for the sign.
Smallville, season premiere, coming Wednesday, September 22nd to WGN.